Hello everyone, and welcome back to the adventures of Kered Larae. Last we left off, the party was pushing the limits of its own endurance, with all of its members except for Kered badly injured after some very unusual encounters throughout the city.
I wouldn't dream of refusing.
They stumble back weakly to the inn. Minsk still diseased by the looks of it, and obviously all in need of rest, which they shall have. However, before resting, they would review and find that they had become a bit more experienced through the struggles and journey of their travels, with Jaheira becoming a level 13 fighter. Her saving throws go down, Seiko goes down, and she gains more hit points. Very good. As for Kered, he's becoming a level 17 transmuter. He acquires an additional 7th and 8th level spell, 1 hit point, and 3 lore. Okay. 7th and 8th. Well, that opens up a lot of interesting options. So far we've been using spells like Sequencer and Delayed Blast Fireball, Power Word Stun, Summon Hakea. Let's see, what other options? Genies can be dangerous, as Ifrits can be. Prismatic Spray is an interesting spell. What is this one? Control Undead? We don't necessarily encounter undead that often. Finger of Death snuffs out the victim's life force, effectively ripping the life out of its body unless a save versus spell is made in -2. Creature that successfully stayed still receives a small amount of damage. How would that... that might be an interesting one to use. Ruby Ray of Reversal. Dispel 1 spell protection of any level. Oh, wait a minute. This could take out Spell Trap. So will we dispel the highest level spell protection? If they're of the same level, the choice is random. This, actually, because we've been having so many problems with enemy casters that use Spell Trap. Even though this is a highly situational spell, I mean, them putting up Spell Trap basically means that we can't do anything about it. So this will be Kered's way, and it's an alteration spell, which suits his casting preferences. That'll be an excellent way to counter enemy liches and other powerful casters. Now let's see, 8th level spells. We already have Simulacrum and Abidazim's Hard Wilting memorized. Incendiary Cloud is unfortunately too dangerous, considering it can hurt anyone that gets in it. Maze, though, no saving throw. Basically a good way to take one creature out of a fight. The more intelligent they are, the shorter the amount of time. But that could be useful as well. Summon Fiend? Summons a frenzied demon. Anyone has protection of evil on from it will ignore. Only desperate or suicidal mages use the spell. Alright, yeah, I'm not... Kered is neither of those things. Let's see, Symbol Fear. Powerful enchantment. The symbol will remain there until someone comes too close, at which point it will explode. Must make a save or be affected by fear. They can make a save against that, though. So, it's not that alarmingly powerful. And again, it would only affect enemies also. I think Maze is actually a good choice here, because there's no way to block it. I imagine spell resistance probably applies, but this might be a really good way, if we're facing a bunch of dangerous enemies, to take one of them just out of the fight for at least long enough that we can counter them at a later time. So, I think that'll be a useful spell. And I think it's an alteration spell as well. Let me check. Actually, it's a conjuration summoning spell. Well, either way, it seems like an excellent choice. Okay, yeah, there we go. Spells memorized and such. Time to have a good long rest. Yeah, I'd like to see services, beds and spirits. Again, only the finest rooms available in this inn. So here we go. I have rest. Alright. Because he had the regeneration ring on, Minsk is all squared away. However, the others are in not so fantastic a condition and are going to be in need of healing. Let's see, what is this? Ring of Free Action? We should probably... we'll just use healing magics to solve the rest. I think that's the easiest way to do it. Apparently Imoen is encumbered and cannot move? Oh, she's carrying too much stuff. She had a... what is it? A strength spell that was affecting her. That was making her able to carry around so much extra stuff. Maybe if we give something light to her and she can give heavy stuff to Minsk. I think that'll work. Alright. Okay, enough with the combat music.
I am willing.
Cannot save her from combat. I guess summoning this creature, or any creature, is considered a combat option, but that's not what was intended. Okay, and a bark skin for, I don't know, here you go. Does Chihira have that spell? No, she does not have it memorized. Heal, which is a bit more useful in more circumstances. Well, let's just go through the usual procedures. So there's going to be quite a bit of organizing that needs to be done. A lot of inventory to shift around, considering just the sheer amount of crap that everyone is carrying. It's probably something that we're not going to focus on explicitly, considering it would probably just take up a bunch of time for no real purpose.
You point, I punch.
Let's see. Can't even really pass around the Ring of Regeneration at this point. Just for all that's going on. Okay. Healing. I think Yan, one of these will probably be all that he needs. Yeah. Oh, that should be sufficient. And we have to fix the glitch there, because we don't really want to take advantage of that. I mean, boots of speed are nice and all, but unless, you know, you have the entire party with something like that, it just becomes disruptive for the organized movement of the group, which, of course, is much more important. So, after sorting out merchandise and everything over here with the merchants, it's going to be an issue of which of the three prospective enemies should the party try to confront. As I might recall, there are the option of the Sahagwin, or not the Sahagwin, I think it's another aquatic species. The Baldurs and the Illithids. Well, that's something we'll think about. I'm gonna cut away for the time being, just because shopping could be a bit dull, so we'll be right back and rejoin Kered and friends shortly. Hey everybody, welcome back. Alright, after doing some shopping, selling, and organizing, there's a number of new items that we picked up. One is the Staff of Earth. Linked to the plane of Earth, this staff may have been fashioned from an ancient druidic sect. It can summon an Earth elemental, though it has the potential to slay such creatures in a single blow, possibly hinting at how difficult it is to control them. It can also free a person from the Earth by casting stone to flesh. Some abilities are limited by charges. So if he hits an Earth elemental with it, it has to save, make a save, or be destroyed. It gets, most importantly, summon an 8-hit dice Earth elemental, which they can be a handy companion to have. And it can reverse the effects of petrification attacks. In terms of Imoen, he gave her the Staff of Air, which he had earlier, in case she needs it. Chihira, we found a Scimitar +3, Water's Edge. The blade of this weapon seems to shimmer, revealing a fluid, razored edge. Truly, there was great skill involved in its construction, as well as a blessing or two from some well-meaning eye above. even though the hilt is comparatively almost clumsily adorned. So a +3 scimitar, making her better able to fight and able to engage certain foes with resistances. So we're going to sell her old sword. We do have a number of items here that Kered identified that didn't prove to be a wise discovery. These bracers, bracers of binding. These bracers appear to be bracers of specialization, but when donned, bind the wearer's wrist together, making it quite difficult to wield a weapon or cast a spell. These bracers are sometimes offered as rewards for services rendered by the drow. The recipient, believing them to be very powerful, will often don them before examining them. At this point, the drow find it amusing to conjure a Hokar. 75% casting failure, +5 to Teiko, which essentially means -5 to attack rolls, and -5 to damage. And the Ring of Clumsiness, the Jester's Folly. The most notorious owner of this ring made a substantial living exploiting its cursed nature. Gregoria the Fool, a jester by trade, would use his incomparable sleight of hand to switch this ring with that of a patsy taken from his audience. The rest of his performance would involve the mocking of the newly clumsy individual, much to the delight of their comrades. The ring was removed by a method known only to the wily jester, only once the stooge had promised no reprisals for the treatment he had received, though Gregoria frequently still had to make a hasty retreat. His last known performance was rumored to have been an ill-humored mage in Zentil Keep, a show from which he did not flee quite fast enough. Reduces dexterity by half, stealth by half, 75% casting failure, can only be removed by a remove curse spell. And finally, the Crossbow of Affliction, +4. A devastating weapon. This crossbow unfortunately draws its power directly from the wielder. Some bowmen have used it regardless, and many to great effect, but the drawbacks must be carefully considered. Its most famous owner, Gilles de Lyon, made good use of it fighting bandits in remote areas of Faerun, but he ultimately fell when he lacked the strength to defend against a rare assailant that got within striking distance. So it provides a -2 strength penalty, but it's a +4 weapon. Our really old crossbow user is Yan here. Question is, gosh, it makes him so weak. He can only carry 30 pounds, which, yeah, it's not really a good item for him to use. Just doesn't quite fit. So we're going to be selling off all this less than compelling equipment presently. If only not to waste our time with such junk.
I wouldn't dream of
Now, there was one thing that we haven't done yet, I think. I cleared out that... Oh, yes. Well, there are all these valuables that we seem to have collected, which are all rather beautiful, but we don't need... Okay, so that's something we have to handle. That and going through the bag of holding and picking out things in here that we really don't need to hold on to anymore may also be a wise decision, but ultimately it's something that can probably wait for another time. And that's something that, yeah, we'll get to eventually.
Oh, yes.
It's time for some high adventure. And what better way to find it than to go out into the Underdark? One thing that Kered and his company have noted is that the drow here do not seem to have any more
Just as I thought.
potions of greater healing, so they only have these potions I think are called a remedy now? Let me see. Elixirs of health, which heal a small amount of hit points and cure poison, but are not as powerful as the ones they had before, so they're going to have to be a little bit more judicial and cautious, because we don't have those handy potions to remedy damage dealt by ferocious enemies. So in terms of the decision of where to go next, there are actually quite a few choices here. But Matron Ardalis has sent me to get the blood of one of the elder races that inhabits the Underdark with the drow. I either need to go to the Beholder Tunnels in the southeast and kill an Elder Orb, go to the Illithid City in the southeast and kill an Elder Brain, or go to the Kuatoan ruins in the west and kill a Kuatoan prince. Once I have the blood, I am to return to Ardalis forthwith. The question then is which one to confront? And as far as Kered's thoughts are going, I mean, these are all dangerous enemies, but it seems like the most sensible thing to do is to go south and confront the Beholders. Not because Beholders are not dangerous compared to the others, But they procured a very useful piece of equipment in the form of Balduran's shield, which will make dealing with them much, much easier. Minsk can nearly equip it, and then he can just waltz in there and smash those wretched beholders to ruin, which is something he will likely do. Now, a broader question is this something we just want to do amongst ourselves? You just take out one of the elder races and then go back and report to the Drow? Or does Kered and his friends, do they want to go the extra mile? Do they want to actually eliminate all of these dangers of the Underdark? And I think, considering that the party is down here, the party is in a position of power and influence, they might as well try to damage all of these dark elder races as much as possible, including the Drow. And it would appear they've stepped into quite a mess. Goodness.
Where Minsk goes, evil stands aside.
Well, we're going to try to have to overwhelm them quickly. Oh dear, the Elder Orb seems to be right there, doesn't he? Perhaps we could have prepared a bit better. Well, it's too late now. I think now might be occasion to probably try to go invisible. Probably be the most sensible thing to do. So, right away, Kered, all the mages actually, are going to probably try to disappear, because otherwise they're going to be in great danger if they don't. I could have sworn one had an invisibility spell prepared. I guess not, so one for him, and finally one for Yan here. Do not want to be exposed. Uh-oh. Alright, they want the attention on... Oh, everyone's in trouble.
Someone give me a hand over here.
Uh-oh. They used the True Sight spell to get through the vision. Kered is gonna have to... This might be a good time for... Where is... Not Simulacrum. Gosh, I know he had a spell prepared for just such an occasion. Perhaps he had Mislead ready, but he never actually used it. Oh dear.
Something you need.
Whoops. Oh, okay, fine then. If it's really going to be just such an occasion, perhaps a quick nasty spell, like Power Word Stun? I'm not sure that would actually work on the creature. Just attack, everyone. Attack at once.
I was a dreamer.
Oh, fireballs.
Ready and able.
This isn't boring. I'll give it that.
Alright, we weakened and slowed it. Just gotta bombard the creature. Whew.
Ready and willing. Good to go.
Goodness.
Just name what you want.
I can do that.
Of course.
What a mess. Didn't think we would run into the Elder Orb so quickly. And what did it have on its person? The eye stalk of an Elder Orb. This eye stalk is from an Elder Orb who is none too willing to give it up. Ugh, what a mess. And a silver amulet and a longsword blade. Things that we need identifying. Well, perhaps Imoen? Amulet of Spell Warding. A favorite item of protection for a mage entering a magical duel. This amulet provides protection against spells, but does not interfere with the mage's own spellcasting. +2 bonus to all saves versus spells. That's quite useful. I wonder if anyone could actually take advantage of that. Let's take a look real quick. That gives magic resistance. That gives immunity to poison. That gives magic resistance as well. And what is Minsk wearing? Ah, the Amulet of Power. Very useful for him. What about this? He doesn't know to identify that either. Blade of the Equalizer. A piece of the Equalizer. This is a part of the Equalizer. A great longsword forged long ago as a tool for balancing the powers of the universe. Also known as the Sword of Neutrality, it did greater damage the further the target's alignment was from true neutral. The Equalizer was last rumored to have been wielded by the elven hero Elaine Greenleaf. It was lost during a voyage to the Underdark. Other rumors have, however, proposed that the blade's pommel gem was stolen by an escaped slave who returned to the surface world. And I do believe we actually do have the pommel gem. Yes, we do. Quite a find indeed.